Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon everyone, and welcome to another karting video, but a little bit different this time. We're indoor karting. Shudders. So I decided this year that I would enter something called the British Indoor Karting Championship. I usually don't do it because it's indoor karting, it's not usually my forte. I don't like it as much compared to outdoor karting, but I thought this year, hey, let's give it a try. So the first stage of it is to go to a circuit, in this case TeamSport Leicester, and go there on 3 separate days before, I think it's the start of August. And your fastest lap can qualify you into the next round of the championship, which will be a race. So this is the second time that I was at TeamSport Leicester, and the guys at TeamSport Leicester were really nice. They essentially said, look, there's going to be, between the 2 sessions that I had booked, there was going to be a clear circuit. So they said if I wanted to, I can pay, like, I think it was like £10, and I can get 15 minutes of track time just to put in some hot laps, because otherwise what happens is, if you're in like a public session, people are spinning all the time, there are constant yellow flags, you can't get clear laps in. So my best time, I think, up until this point was a 38.6, which I did actually on my first time going to the circuit. And I was expecting, okay, clear track, maybe I can go a little bit quicker. I spoke to a couple of the guys at Club 100 who do race in the BIKC, the likes of Harrison Kirk and Adam Sheargold. They essentially said that if you're on an empty track or a public session where there's newer drivers who are spinning and stuff, the track doesn't get warm, so the concrete actually is really cold, and as a result apparently it can be like a couple of seconds a lap slower. So if you go on a members night, which I am planning to do at some point, where there's a lot of quick drivers, the track gets warm and you find a lot more time. So with that kind of intro done and dusted, yeah, let's just run through some laps then here at TeamSport Leicester. As you can see towards the start of the session, I'm lapping in the low 39s, and this is probably the most fun part of the circuit because you're almost going flat out all the way through that long right-hander. This is the final corner, and this is the trickiest one because it feels like it should be flat, but constantly you just understeer and lose the rear end. Turn 1, you have to brake really late, and then just try to keep up the minimum speed, which I don't do a very good job of. I do get my times down, and I think after this session I felt very confident, very comfortable with my abilities on the circuit. I think whenever I go to this track now, I should be able just to pump in the lap times straight away. So I'm ready to go for a members night, which is going to be Monday or Thursday. Hopefully we can win, but I don't know. I'm going to be racing in the middleweight category because I'm around that 75 kilo mark, which is the minimum weight needed. So we're coming around to start lap 5, and I think this might be my first 38. It's a 39.0, but again, braking really late, kind of getting the back out early just so that I can get on the power and the kart's rotated, because it is on concrete, there's not much grip, so the kart doesn't have grip when it's turning, so you can't really turn at higher speed. So I was finding it quicker for the hairpins just to get the kart rotated. This left hairpin is going uphill, so you don't really need to brake and you can just carry so much speed. And then this right-hander is just like a little flick mid-corner to get the kart rotated, and then it's just flat all the way. Here, I was having a little lift going into the corner just so that the kart would be stable going through it. And from this point, I think all of my laps were high 38s. High 38s. I think I got mid 38 at some point. But yeah, I just thought, if anyone's planning on going to TeamSport Leicester and wants to see how you can kind of consistently set some quick laps or a decent benchmark, here it is. I'll upload my fastest lap as like a hot lap video, and I've included as well the rest of the session. So essentially we got to go out for 15 minutes. At the end of those 15 minutes, or at the end of like 12 minutes or something, they let out the rest of the people for their public session. So you'll get to see me doing 18 or so laps in clean air, and then you'll get to see me kind of just fiddling my way through back markers and newer drivers to karting, and you can see the difference between someone who does karting regularly and, you know, someone who's just going to a karting circuit for a laugh with their mates. But yeah, again, this corner was probably my favourite because you carry so much speed, and I think that time around we actually got it quite well. There's a lot of sliding because it is on, you know, on concrete, on cement, whatever it is. I think it's cement, or wooden floors. And yeah, there's just so little grip, and indoor karting is very slidey. It's why indoor karting is just completely different to outdoor. Again, another 39.2, so not consistently hitting those 38s, and very often I was just tapping the kind of skirting on the outside of the circuit as I was trying to let out the kart more and more. You can hear it repeatedly. I don't think it cost me much time. I mean, maybe it does. It is a bit of resistance, right? But yeah, it was just me trying to let out the kart as much as possible. Maybe it was costing me time. I don't know. For those people who are more experienced with indoor karting, let me know. I think the lap record at this circuit is like a 35.7. I got a 38.4 at some point, and considering that there's, from what I'm hearing, about 2 seconds just from the track not being warm, I'll take being only half a second off the lap record, especially considering that lap record might be set by someone, you know, a bit lighter than me, so there might be a few more tenths in it. But again, I need to go to a members night and just see how much quicker the track can be. Again, into this left-hander, I think the main thing with that left hairpin is just opening up the steering as much as possible. You kind of go into a lot of these corners, so you like flick the steering wheel hard and then just open up the steering wheel, try to straighten it out to stabilize the car as quickly as possible. I think that double left-hander I went to is my weakest corner. It's the one where I can never find like the right way of taking it. That left hairpin, I think I got absolutely spot on that time around, and this was the point where I started figuring out what I wanted to do. Again, that right hairpin as well. You can hear, if you go back and listen to it, there's a lot less sliding through those two hairpins than before. Here, there still has to be sliding because you're carrying more speed, but the other corners, there was less sliding, and I was getting on the power earlier. Had more minimum speed as well through the corner. Here, you have to slide. Let's see what the next lap is, and whether, again, I kind of cut out that sliding out of those two corners, because I think that might be the trick here. Because this is me watching these for the first time and kind of analysing it. So through that left-hander, I think I lost a bit of time. Again, sliding too much. You know what? That right hairpin might not have been too bad. Again, it's just kind of weird. You can't really tell what was quick, what wasn't quick, because I don't have telemetry, right? I don't know. I can't see exactly how much time I'm gaining through every corner. So it is tough to be able to realize, okay, you know, was this little change I made, was this actually where I gained time, or was it something I did in another corner? But this then is my fastest lap at TeamSport Leicester. So again, early on the brakes, but hard on the brakes, and just get the kart rotated on the power as soon as possible. And again, onto the brakes into hairpin 2. Just about getting the kart rotated as quickly as possible so that I can get on the power as early as possible. These karts don't have a lot of, you know, acceleration through that left hairpin. You kind of just throw the kart through the corner, and then into this long right-hander. You just absolutely peg it all the way around, get the rear end out mid-corner, and then flat out through the left. Down the hill, little lift into the double left-hander. We get both apexes, and that is a 38.4 at TeamSport Leicester. Onto another lap, again, another 38, and we're kind of getting these two hairpins a lot more consistently. Oh, that was actually really nice. That was very nice through that right hairpin. I think that might be one of the best ways I've taken it. But again, just because of how the track is and how I was experimenting as well, the consistency wasn't quite there. That was a really weird run that I took through the right hand. So what you'll notice when I go up that hill into the right hand, I don't pull the car all the way to the left, because I don't think you need to. You're just traveling extra distance for no reason. Again, another 38.8 on the brakes, get the kart rotated, clip the apex on the power as early as possible, flat out through that right, and then it's same thing again for that hairpin. Get it turned and try to get on the power as early as possible. One of the big things with these karts is you can't modulate the throttle. It's very digital. Either you have the throttle on or it's off. There's no like little bit of power really. So what I usually do outdoor karting is I give it a little bit of throttle just to keep the clutch engaged, so that it's ready to kind of accelerate out of corners. You can't do that in these karts. You have to accelerate really early out of the corners. That's what I kind of found. Again, another 38.7. Getting it slowed down early, getting the kart rotated. Maybe in a race that means someone can send me up the inside. Again, I'll have to figure that one out. I don't think I got that right hairpin very well. Again, you can kind of hear the sliding, and you can see that the kart was struggling to pick up speed coming out of the corner. Again, up the hill, I was kind of like jumping the kart forward, trying to see if it could like push the kart forward in a direction. You know, just for the last part of the hill, just to give it some extra grunt. I don't know if that helped at all. But yeah, that 38.4 was my best time. I got a couple of 38.5s in at some point, and again, towards the end of this video, you'll see when the other karts come out onto circuit, just how I kind of navigate my way through them. That time, a lot later on the brakes, being a lot more physical with the car on entry. Again, trying to get that kart turned around. I think I kind of overdid it. That felt really nice through that hairpin. I didn't quite get the apex, so a slightly wider line, and maybe it meant that I could just carry a bit more speed. This right-hander was probably the easiest one for me to hook up lap after lap. I felt quite decent at it. Understeer through that double left-hander, so that's probably half a tenth to a tenth. Another 38.5, so this one should be a good lap. And again, you can see we've got that kart rotated before we get to the apex. Means we can get on the power nice and early into this right-hander. Again, getting the kart rotated as we're getting to the apex. We get on the power early. We don't lose any time. And then this left-hander, oh, I think it just bogged down a little bit. The rear end struggled to pick up traction going up the hill. And then this right-hander should be nice and easy, nice and wide in, and then just kind of slide it, hold it tight on the exit so you can get a good run all the way down the hill. Yeah, and I was kind of not sure how to take that final corner before, but taking it tight seems to be the way to go. And again, another 38.5, so a couple of 38.5s in a row is definitely a good sign, and it just shows that we did have consistency by the end of the session. Once we had kind of figured out, okay, what feels right, then we were able to start putting in some more consistent lap times. I'm quite happy that I was able to do, 38.4 and a couple of 38.5s. It wasn't just, hey, my fast lap is a 38.4 and the rest of the laps are like 38.7s, 38.8s. It was consistently around that mid-38 mark come the end of the session. As I say that, here's a 38.9 then. This is one of the last laps of the session before they started releasing out the novices. Well, that's why I lost time. I was still sideways after the apex of the corner, so I didn't get on the power very early. And this was just me trying to experiment with how late I could break into the hairpin, because I think I probably felt at the time, right, I've learned this way of driving the circuit. Can I now push my limits? Can I start to break a little bit later into corners, try out some other stuff? And I think that time round I would have realised, okay, that didn't work, so I'm probably not going to do that this time round, and maybe go a little bit quicker. So 38.8. Hairpin 1, I seem to kind of have the knack of and just be able to do consistently well. We'll see whether I get this better this time, no. And again, it did feel like hairpin 2 was that one corner where I was consistently losing time, right? I felt like I could go quicker through there if I made some changes, but I couldn't figure out what changes I need to make, or I needed to make. And we get a really bad one through that right hander. We kind of just drift out wide a bit, and that costs us about a 10 because we have to pull the kart back over, and it unsettles us going into the left-hander. So 38.6, so we're kind of back up into the right zone, and you can see why. We're just so much smoother into hairpin number 1, and then through hairpin number 2. Again, maybe a bit too sideways, but I kind of was able to brake late to carry more speed into the corner, even if I didn't get the drive out. Again, decent run through the hairpin at the bottom of the circuit, as I'd like to say. I think there's only about, I haven't actually counted how many corners there are. Very nice run through the long right hand and then into the double left hander. Again, hold it tight seems to be the way to go. And this is when the back markers come out onto circuit. And now you can see the lap times drop instantly. If we go from being in the 38s to high 39s, because this is the point where we're just going to catch back markers after back markers. We're not going to be able to get clean laps in. But this is a good opportunity just to show kind of how I navigate my way through traffic at TeamSport Leicester. So first stop then, into this right-hander, we're going to go up the inside because they brake and we're just able to throw our car up the inside, then go round the outside of the left-hander. They're all braking for that corner. We're going flat, a little bit sideways into the double left-hander. And this is the point where I kind of stopped recording what my lap times are, because I'm not going to get any clean laps in. I think this lap here, this was a 38. So this was a 38.8 or something. And then I didn't get any other 38s because this was the only clean lap I got in the session. So if you do go to, you know, an indoor karting session at TeamSport or wherever it is, you know, don't be miffed if your fastest lap isn't that quick, because chances are you probably have traffic in every lap. So you could probably go about a second a lap quicker if you did get that clean air. And again, we get clean air just about. I was a little bit scared through that double left-hander, and then from here it is just traffic every lap, because this is the point where the back markers kind of get spread out across the circuit. So even if you've got past one, you're going to catch another one or another two over a lap. And don't forget, you're going something like 5 to 10 seconds a lap quicker than these guys. So over a 40-second lap, 10 seconds a lap, that's every four laps you gain. Every 4 laps you're lapping. There's a yellow flag out, so we slow the kart down. Someone is spun. 2 karts are spun. And this is just how TeamSport goes, right? You just got yellow flags, so now you can't get any hot laps in. And then as soon as that yellow flag goes to green, you'll get about a minute, and then you'll have yellow flags again. So it's annoying, right? When you're behind a wheel, you kind of want to push, you want to set in some quick laps, but you just can't. That's just how the cookie crumbles, right? So it's why I think it's definitely better to go for those member nights, which I am going to try to do at some point. I think they're on Mondays or Thursdays, so I'm going to hit one of those up, and yeah, should hopefully be some good fun. See how we do against the guys who have been coming to this track for ages and ages and ages, as we've got a kart spun into turn 1, turn 2, I don't know, first hairpin. So we're just going to go round the outside, and then we go into hairpin 2, and we kind of just wait until we catch up to our next group of traffic. And again, another yellow flag out, so we've got to go nice and slowly. Yeah, it's just how it goes. Yellow flag, you got to go slowly. Even if you don't want to go slowly, there are cars in front of you who go really slowly. So yeah, you just don't have any options other than just to follow them around. I think the guy in front of me here is the lad who was doing the previous session with me, so Toby, who was quite quick, and we were kind of just going around together. And at this point, I kind of wanted to practice how to overtake, so I wanted to see how I could overtake Mr. Toby, as there are karts spinning all around. There's a yellow flag out, and I followed Toby through the back marker, because otherwise this back marker would go really slowly, and Toby would pull miles away. And I was like, I'll just follow through. Very cheeky, I shouldn't have done that, I'll be real. But we had also passed the incident, so I was like, I knew there wasn't any danger in front, because the yellow flag is for the incident, and they pull out yellow flags over the whole circuit. So I had a look in front, and I saw that there wasn't an incident. And now I'm just going to sit behind until we go green, and then practice some overtakes. And because that's one of the other things, right? If I've got a BIKC race coming up, I need to figure out where you can overtake, because it is very hard to overtake at indoor karting circuits, especially TeamSport tracks. And you can see, I think Toby just brakes a bit too hard. Rear end comes out maybe a bit too aggressive, and that's the other thing, right? When I'm behind, I don't really know where the driver in front is going to brake, so I don't want to like run into the back of it by braking at my braking point. So there I was thinking, can I go up the inside? Toby lets me through, and I'm like, no, I want to sit behind you. I think he thought I was going to push him along, but I was like, no, I want to practice my overtaking maneuvers here at TeamSport, because there are a few places where you can overtake, and I have figured out a couple of them, and you will see them over the rest of this video, or the next few minutes anyway that are left. I'm not going to include this whole thing just because I think it's a little bit too long, but we're green, and the guy at the front has no idea what he's doing. There's a car on his outside. He drives into Toby, and yeah, then just drives him off circuit. And I'm just going slowly now, waiting for Toby to come back through, so that I can try to overtake him. And yeah, it was nice having one other person who was relatively quick on circuit. But you can see that I'm gaining a little bit of time going up the hill, so I think my kart was better than him. So I think there's about 2/10 in the kart, and then I figure out a way to go past, up the inside through the double right-hander, and then I push, and then he goes through. I saw him putting his hand up, so I thought he was a bit frustrated by it. So I figured that maybe he just didn't want to battle. My logic was, I think we're both qualifying for the IKC, and I just thought we had that open session beforehand, so that was our time to put in the hot laps. We're not going to set hot laps in, you know, in this situation. So I thought, let's just battle, have some fun battling. I was thinking about going up the inside, but it doesn't work. So in the end, I go for the exit, and I did get a much better run, which is why I'm able to catch up a huge amount. Again, I wanted to go up the inside into this right-hander. Couldn't quite do it that time round. So then down the hill into the final couple of corners. And in through turn 1. And then we see, oh look, there's a back marker in front. What can I do? Toby has to think about going up the inside. I know it's not going to work. So I'm just sitting behind, just waiting. I probably could have overtaken him, but again, I'm just sitting behind, kind of enjoying watching what's happening in front of me and just sitting like a shark directly behind him. We get through without any issues, and then he's going to go up the inside into the hairpin. I follow him through. I give him a little push on corner exit, and then just gaining time up the hill. I think I only weighed about 5 kilos less than him, so I think there was a little bit of kart difference between the pair of us. There is always kart difference at every circuit you go to. Even if it's Club 100, there's always a little bit. It's just at different places, they vary by less amounts. You go to Club 100, majority of the karts are within a few tenths of each other. You go to TeamSport, you've probably got karts that are maybe a second a lap. Well, actually, it's not a long lap, so maybe it's not a second a lap. We get a good run then coming out of the hairpin. We get the position, and then we go up the inside. And at this point, I just kind of checked out. But I thought this would make for, you know, something a little bit different. A show of some indoor karting then at Leicester. I hope you have enjoyed this. There's a few more videos to be coming out. There's a few YouTube shorts as well. I'm going to start uploading some of my overtakes at different circuits onto the old YouTube shorts. It's quite fun, you know, less than a minute videos. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. If you did enjoy, drop a like, subscribe, all of that hoo-ha, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.